This morning, America's First News starts right after this. Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
From Compass Media Networks, this is America's First News. This morning, with your host, Gordon Deal.
Exhausted by Mother Nature. Good morning, I'm Gordon Deal, along with Jennifer Kashenka on this Thursday, February 18. Glad you could be with us, and here's what we have for you this hour.
A second winter storm is barreling into areas of the country that are already reeling from freezing temperatures and power outages. We'll have an update from Houston.
New research finds that the COVID vaccine from Pfizer and BioNTech is effective against the South African variant.
Talk radio icon Rush Limbaugh has died after a battle with lung cancer. He was 70.
And restaurants, gyms, and salons frustrated with the constant closings and reopenings.
A lot of it has to do with changing policies in response to the COVID pandemic, also employee illnesses. I talked to one business owner who has closed and reopened 4 times. 3 times tied to the pandemic, 1 time to civil unrest. And it's really challenging.
Ruth Simon at the Wall Street Journal on the unpredictability for small businesses during the pandemic. Old Man Winter's 1-2 punch has arrived as another snowstorm roared its way across the nation, hitting areas where millions were already without electricity and record-breaking cold. The National Weather Service says more than 100 million Americans are in the path of the storm as it tracks from the southern plains to the east coast over the next couple of days. In Texas, more than 1.6 million homes and businesses remained without power last night. Some also lost water service. Lena Hidalgo is the judge for Harris County, home to Houston.
Due to a loss of water pressure, a lot of folks are out of water, including our hospitals.
Texas officials ordered 7 million people, a quarter of the population, to boil tap water before drinking it. All of Austin is under a water boil notice. Texas and the Southeast will get heavy snowfall and ice accumulations through today. Heavy snow is forecast as far north as southern New England today. Meanwhile, drizzle and mist overnight in Houston, combined with sub-freezing temperatures, mean bridges and overpasses are at risk of freezing up with a glaze of ice in that region. Also, there's a chance for a light wintry mix this morning and afternoon. The latest on the crippling conditions now from Cliff Saunders, reporter at KTRH Radio, one of our affiliates. We spoke to him earlier from Houston. Cliff, what's it like this morning?
So the bad news is that there are still thousands without power. The good news is that we've got only thousands without power and not 1,000,003 plus the way we did yesterday. It's about 140,000 right now. So there's good news there. We're hearing that the boil water notice in the city of Houston, not for all the other cities, but in the city of Houston itself, could be lifted at some point today. So things are trending up from that standpoint. But it's like whack-a-mole, Gordon. Whenever you knock one problem down, another one, or in our case, several, seem to pop up.
Yeah. What's the forecast for the area? Is there some temperature moderation in the next coming days?
Well, I mean, we have a heat wave right now of, 34 degrees? Yeah. So we're going to get warmer gradually, but it looks like we're having another cold night, obviously, and they're talking about another, they call them hard freezes down here for Thursday night into Friday. So one more night of shivering timbers, so to speak.
Water pressure is a problem. I thought that was an issue that Lena Hidalgo, the judge in Harris County, said even for hospitals.
Yeah, hospitals are trying to conserve water. It's not that this is not a water supply problem. Let's say that. It's the ability to purify the water, which you need the electricity for to get it to the pumping systems. And when that's been damaged the way it is, you lose water pressure. And this is I never thought I'd see a boil water notice in the city of Houston, but here we are.
You referenced before we came on the air, too, about gas supplies. Here you are in Houston, of all places.
Yeah, and the problem is the roads have been impassable. So if the roads are impassable, certainly the trucks can't get here. So you combine that with the fact that production is down and prices have already gone up by about 10%. So the average in Houston yesterday afternoon was something like $2.19 a gallon. And we have some of the cheapest gas prices in the country normally. And the problem there is that it's going to go up even further. The other problem is if people have run out of food. And, my wife and I tried to get into 2 or 3 different supermarkets yesterday. The lines were out the door around the block, and that was just outside. Once you get inside, it's even crazier. Deliveries, much like with the gas situation, Gordon, they had issues on Tuesday. Hopefully, they're coming back more online today after full deliveries last night. But if you didn't stock up, you're in trouble. See, the problem was they said, okay, this is going to be a Sunday through Tuesday thing. Well, now it's a Sunday through at least Thursday, and then probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday again by the time you're dealing with all these impacts. So, most restaurants are closed. I don't normally eat Pop-Tarts, but here I am eating Pop-Tarts.
Jeez. We're speaking with Cliff Saunders, reporter at KTRH Radio in Houston. What has startled you most about this?
That's a loaded question. How unprepared the state was. And I don't know if there's anyone to really blame. There's a natural inclination to go after ERCOT. They're the regulatory agency in charge of the electricity. Look, could they have been better prepared? Yes. But the bottom line was generators in Texas are not built the way generators, the giant power plants are in, New York, New Jersey, Northeast states. Those are built to handle cold weather and not hot weather. Our power plants and generators are built to handle the hot weather and not the cold weather. So that's why we can handle 110-degree days for days and weeks at a time. We can't handle this. Just like, for instance, where you're based out of the East Coast, if you get a stretch like this, okay, it's just another January day or another February day or week or whatever it might be. But if you had our usual August temperatures for a week straight in, let's just say, New York City, 105 with a heat index of 113, you would have brownouts there too. Yeah. And the supply didn't meet the demand. Somebody fell asleep at the switch, but it's not that simple. And I wish it was. Because it would be really easy to sit there and say, so-and-so should have done this, but it's so-and-so should have done this, but this one should have done this, and that one should have done that. So we've got a lot of posturing going on, and in the meantime, there are still people, the big issue, and I'm sorry to ramble, I know you've got short segments, but we don't know how many people are going to be impacted in terms of a death toll. We know of 24 deaths. Yeah. That number is going to go up, and it's going to go up in a big way.
That's terrific insight. It's Cliff Saunders, reporter at KTRH Radio in Houston, one of our affiliates. When you call a Dell Technologies advisor, you're talking to someone who isn't waiting for their turn to speak, but who actually wants to hear what you have to say. They're focused on you, ready to give advice on everything from laptops to the cloud, and offer tailored solutions powered by Intel vPro platform to keep your small business ready for what's next. Our advisors listen, so you know your small business needs have been heard. Call a Dell Technologies advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877 Ask Dell. Thanks for spending time with us. Welcome into Thursday. Conservative talk radio icon Rush Limbaugh, who led a thriving right-wing media industry, has died of complications from lung cancer. He was 70. His wife, Catherine Rogers, made the announcement on his show yesterday. Mr. Limbaugh had told listeners he was undergoing treatment for advanced lung cancer in early 2020. He said later that year that the cancer was stage 4, terminal, and progressing after months of several different treatment regimens. At the time, he reiterated his intent to continue with his show despite fatigue and other symptoms. Reaction from former Vice President Dan Quayle.
Question, I've talked with a number of people today, okay, where do we go from here? Nobody's irreplaceable, but Rush Limbaugh's pretty close to it.
Ms. Rogers said Mr. Limbaugh had proudly fought and defended conservative values in a way that no one else can. Beginning as a relatively unknown disc jockey at stations in Pennsylvania and Missouri, Mr. Limbaugh saw his star rise quickly after starting a talk show in 1984 in Sacramento, California. 21 minutes after the hour on This Morning. Here's Jennifer Kashenka.
And now, the three big things you need to know. Number one.
Millions of people endured another frigid day without electricity or heat in the aftermath of a deadly winter storm as utility crews raced to restore power in places least equipped to deal with winter weather. Texas officials have ordered a quarter of the state's population to boil tap water before drinking it, but many have also lost water service. Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo.
I've asked the community to continue preparing for another couple of days without power because we need to be prepared. We hope for the best, but we have to be prepared for the worst.
The weather system is now moving into the Northeast. This week's extreme weather has been blamed for at least 30 deaths nationwide.
Number two.
Researchers are urging governments to delay administering the second dose of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, which they say has an efficacy of 92.6% after the first dose. The researchers, whose findings were published in the New England Journal of Medicine, say there may be uncertainty about the duration of protection with a single dose, but the administration of the second dose a month after the first provides little added benefit in the short term.
Number three.
Life expectancy in the U.S. dropped a staggering 1 year during the first half of 2020 as the pandemic caused the first wave of deaths. Dr. Robert Anderson of the CDC.
It's not something that we've seen. We have to go back to World War II, 1940s, to find a decline like this in the past.
Minorities suffered the biggest impact, with Black Americans losing nearly 3 years and Hispanics nearly 2 years. A NASA rover streaking toward a landing on Mars this afternoon is the riskiest step yet in an epic quest to bring back rocks that could answer whether life ever existed on the red planet. NASA's Thomas Zurbuchen.
We go to the most promising side to really unlock the information about that web past and the question, was there ancient life during that period where on Earth life was arising?
Perseverance, the biggest, most advanced rover ever sent by NASA, would become the 9th spacecraft to successfully land on Mars.
Do you think somebody steps out?
No.
When it lands?
No.
Parachute deploys, somebody walks out. 7-month journey. Come on, somebody steps out.
No,
nothing.
Innovation, resilience, agility. It's how Michigan businesses continue to build the future. Our expertise, talented workforce, and proven adaptability are making a difference now and shaping the future. Join us and make your mark where it matters. Visit michiganbusiness.org/radio to put your plans in motion. That's michiganbusiness.org/radio.
Thanks for being with us. This portion of the program is brought to you by Grainger. For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, backed by 24/7 support and access to product experts. Click Grainger.com, call, or just stop by. Nearly a year into the U.S. spread of COVID-19, multiple closings and reopenings are now almost commonplace for owners of restaurants, bars, gyms, beauty salons, and other establishments. Some of their frustrating stories from Ruth Simon, senior special writer for the Wall Street Journal. Ruth, what's happening?
What's happening is that businesses keep having to close and reopen and close and reopen. A lot of it has to do with changing policies in response to the COVID pandemic, also employee illnesses. I talked to one business owner in the Los Angeles area who has closed and reopened 4 times, 3 times tied to the pandemic, 1 time to civil unrest. And it's really challenging.
Yeah. How about some of the costs involved here? I didn't realize how much money it can be to do that.
It's very costly, and it's particularly, we focused on restaurants and bars because they have not only sort of the same costs that other businesses do, but they deal a lot with food or beverages that are perishable, so they have to throw things out or give it away and then they have to restock. So one of the business owners that I talked to, he has 2